This week, you will learn tips for creating breathtaking panoramic photographs. AdoramaTV presents Take and Make Great Photography with Gavin Hoey, where you'll learn how to take stunning photos and then polish them in post-production. Here's your host, Gavin Hoey.
Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching AdoramaTV, and today I've come out into the countryside because I'm going to take a beautiful panoramic picture of this fantastic viaduct. This is the Ouse Valley Viaduct. It is a huge Victorian masterpiece that spans the Sussex countryside, and to do it justice I really do need to take a sequence of overlapping pictures, a panorama. I'm going to use my 5D Mark II and my Canon 24 to 105mm lens to do the job. Now, I've gone back a little bit from the viaduct, but I haven't gone a million miles back because I'm after a very specific effect. I'm after an effect where this whole thing just bends and bows when we stitch it together inside of Photoshop. Now, before I do any of that, I've got to get the pictures in the bag. Now, I'm going to start in aperture priority mode, but I'm not going to take my shots there. I'm going to choose an aperture. Let's choose f11. I'm going to choose an ISO, let's choose 200 ISO, and I'm going to take a meter reading from the middle of my panorama. So that's going to be straight ahead of me. And at those settings, my camera says, ah, right, you want to be at 250th of a second. So, manual mode, shutter speed 250th, aperture f11, ISO 200. So I've locked in those exact settings. So every picture in this panorama will have precisely the same settings. Now that does mean when you take a panorama, sometimes bits of your picture will look brighter or darker as you look at the individual photos, but as a whole, they'll join together absolutely beautifully. Okay, so we're all set up, and when it comes to taking the photos, there's one other really good tip. Overlap your pictures by 20%, 30%, 40%. The more you overlap, the better your stitch will be. And the way I do it is to take a picture. For example, if I take a picture now, I can see on the right hand side of my screen one of these pillars, and when I take my next shot, that pillar will appear on the left hand side of the very next shot. So it'll be on the right hand side, my next shot, it'll be on the left hand side. That way I'm guaranteed a good overlap. Okay, so we're kind of ready to go. So first picture of my panorama is going to be my hand. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of my hand. Why have I photographed my hand? Well, simply when you put all the pictures together inside of your computer, you'll find spotting a panorama is much trickier than you might imagine. When you see a picture of your hand, you'll think, ah, hang on, all of the next pictures are all from the same panorama. Now what I will do is actually plan my panorama, so I'll plan out the shots, because this is huge in front of me, and I think I can only just fit it in on the 24mm end of the lens. Yeah, only just. So I'm going to come across like that. It's got a nice firm footing because the ground's a bit unstable here. And away we go. Okay, so plan it out. Take a picture of my hand. And take the shots. So here comes shot number 1. And then making sure they overlap, shot number 2. Then it gets a little harder as I come into the middle. And then 4. And then 5. So 180-degree panorama. Now, having done that, it's a really good idea to do it again, because you never know what could go wrong. So let's just take one more sequence like that. Start by photographing my hand, and away we go. So plan the route. And we start over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there we go. There's my little panorama completed. So that's the hardest bit of shooting a panorama. Now I've got to do the easy bit, which is to join them all together inside of Photoshop. And that's what we'll do as soon as I get these back to the computer. Okay, so I'm back on the computer and this is Photoshop CS6. So here is my panoramic images that I shot. And first thing you can notice, there are actually 6 images and not 5. When I joined together the 5 images that I shot during the video recording, they looked okay. but the join wasn't as good as the 6-image panorama that I shot just after I finished doing it. So this is a reason why shooting the panorama at least twice is a really good idea. So I'm going to get my images here in Mini Bridge, click on the first one, hold Shift, click on the last one, so they're all selected. Now, because these are raw files, when I drag the 6 images and drop them in Photoshop, they'll actually open up inside of Adobe Camera Raw. Now, the images all had exactly the same exposure. You can see f11, 250th, ISO 200 on every single image. However, I need to make sure that in RAW they all get exactly the same processing too, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. And I do it by clicking the Select All button. That means all of the images are now linked together. So if I changed, say, saturation and made it black and white, they all go black and white. Okay, so everything I do will be copied onto the other images. One thing I forgot to set in camera, which wasn't really an oversight, but it probably would have been a good idea, was white balance. So the white balance I've set here as daylight. That means they all get the same white balance. I think that's a little bit orange, so I'll pull the temperature back just a tiny bit. Now, exposure, that's absolutely fine. I think we nailed that in camera. Contrast could probably have a little bit of a contrast boost. Definitely bring the highlights back to get anything out of those clouds that we can, so they're not pure white. And shadows, well, there's lots of deep shadows here underneath the arches, so let's open up the shadows quite a bit. Clarity, well, I kind of love clarity, so we'll put clarity up a lot. And vibrance, let's really make those colours sing. Okay, so that's looking much better. Before I open up these images, I'm just going to click here on the workflow options, and normally I would be on 21 million pixels, full resolution. But this is 6 images I need to open, stitch and save. That's going to give me a huge file and a lot of work for the computer to do. So I'm going to swap to 2.8 million pixels and click OK. Then I'm going to press Open Images. Note it's images plural with an S. If it's image singular, you forgot to click on Select All at the beginning. Now you'll also notice my panoramic is made up of upright, vertical, portrait formatted images. Now that means that when they join together, I will end up with a much deeper panorama. If you take your panoramas in horizontal, in landscape, you end up with a really thin panorama. So always shoot them in portrait format. Okay, so there's my individual images open, and we can now go to File, Automate, and Photo Merge to join them together. Photo Merge has been around forever, and it really hasn't changed much in the last few versions of Photoshop. Layout, stick with Auto, works pretty much every time. If Auto doesn't work, switch to Cylindrical. I'll add in the open files, click OK, and off it goes. So it'll gather up those 6 images and start to merge them together by looking for the overlaps and joins and lining them up. It'll twist and distort the images so they all bend and fit together nicely, and it'll blend in the edges, and there you go. So it works really quickly and very, very effectively. Only thing I need to do now is to get my crop tool, and I'm just going to crop away the bits that I don't actually need. I'll try and keep as much of the panorama as I can, but it's just one of those things with a panorama like this, you're going to end up cropping it here and there somewhere, and I think around about there looks good. Okay, we'll click the tick, and that crops the image down. Now I've got a small area here on the top right corner where there's no pixels at all. So let's just go to Layer, and we'll choose to merge the layers. And then I'm going to get my spot healing brush, and I'm going to turn on Content Aware if it isn't already, and then just fill in that area with a bit of Content Aware, and just let that Content Aware fill it in like so. It's also worth checking for any dust spots on your image as you've got that tool, and you'll probably find them at one end of the panorama or the other, but probably not so many in the middle where everything's blended in together. So there you go. There's how you can create a panorama image from a sequence of single photographs. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.
AdoramaTV is brought to you by Adorama, your best source for the equipment and knowledge you need. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 7 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, the next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. Check out the Adorama Rental Company for professional cameras, lighting, computers, and more. We'll help you make the best selection to match your needs while giving you the knowledge to achieve the best outcome from your rental. Adorama is your complete solution for equipment, printing, training, and more. Adorama, more than a camera store.